Alright, here we are again. My name is Disc. It is Wednesday of the new week, so happy for the rotation. And here we are in a Plaguefall 23. Total pug, but it went pretty well, so I thought I would show you guys some of the successes and some of the failures. Yeah, here we go.
3, 2, 1.
Alright, so here we go. We do have a boomkin in the group, which is amazing for Tyrannical, for PI. And this week we have Storming and Sanguine. Love to see it. We have a roar incoming, so I wait for the roar. I use a little weak R to track my invis-pot timer. I just need to see it graphically. The roar gets us all the way through. I always give a Mind Soothe, but we made it through in time. I would have rather the Druid hold his cooldowns for the Tormented, but he used it here. So I went ahead and PI'd him. I go into straight Novas with these guys. Toss out a Radiance at the end for coverage. It's really great if you can have your Eruption hit all of those slimes, but they usually die too quick. I thought about creating a cancel aura macro just to have it detonate on my command. Not done it yet. You'll notice I atoned the tank last there going into my Fiend Schism ramp. Arcalath is a great place for Fiend. I don't really dispel here either. My whole approach to this encounter is just AoE healing the whole group always, so I don't know, the dots don't push me past my limits. Do get a little low there. I'm gambling slightly having that dot on me, but we had it. Love a wild growth from a Druid. Alright, so this guy, not too strong since we're Tyrannical. Still important to dodge his belches though. So I do use big wigs, and I've customized each dungeon just to notify me of those type of attacks. By default, bigwigs will spam you every single attack there is. I think it muddles, the important ones. Alright, this is a pretty standard route, and this is a great place to PI. So this is a PI and Boon pull, I believe. Yeah, it was unfortunate that the ground damage separated me from targets, but that happens. We have PI on our Mage, I'm sure he loves it. Yeah, and just get a little sear in here. Always stay away from those oozes. I just feel like as a priest we don't need to gamble our health with stepping on them. Make sure you're always targeting the target with the spectrometer. You need that increased DPS. I have a weak R there for my Power of the Dark Side. I feel like the native indicator is not as good as I'd like it to be. I want to see a countdown timer. I don't want to just see an image. I always want to go for this guy first. We're going to leave the slime up. We're going to kite him upstairs for the boss. Lost my dots there, that was sad. Targeted the wrong guy. So the punt up the hill game is pretty fun. Use your Shining Force there. We're trying to save, you know, fractions of a second, but that's what these timed runs are all about. Everyone is charged and ready. All cooldowns are available. This is probably going to be the hardest boss of the dungeon on Tyrannical. Thankfully we have all the CC we need. So the way I lay out my cooldowns here is I'll use Barrier first on top of the slime puddle. Yeah, I could have played that better by having everyone topped a little bit better before the stomp. You'll notice I almost wiped the group, kinda. PI on Druid here is amazing. The best way to PI a Druid is with a delay. You don't want to PI them right when they queue their window. You will maximize it more if you delay it by 4 to 5 seconds. I'm just doing a little bit of a mana dump here, getting everyone topped. Perfect. Dispel myself, I need the movement. I'm not going to take damage here, so I'm not like super eager to top myself, I'm just getting out of the way. And anytime you have haste, if it's like a bloodlust or if it's this puddle, you'll notice my boon pattern is different. It's a Nova boon. I'm sorry, Nova Blast. It's a lot more healing in DPS. It's really nice to switch when you can. I use my little ERT add-on there to ask for Innervate during my Rapture window. It's better if that's mana free. I could have played that better too by Rapturing earlier. It's nice to be able to cover the front end of that stomp. I think I was a little too excited about my boon. Forgot. Still got full value though. Boss is almost dead. Yeah, not too worried about healing there because I'm just going to drink. That'll take care of my health and my mana. Druid through a wild growth. If you play Boomkin, toss those out of combat. That's the quickest way to make your Discipline Priest happy. Group's a little bit dry here. So recovery pull. Targeting the Spectrometer, Schism Seer. Yeah, you'll see the wing attack. That's the only thing queuing here from my ERT. Because that's really the only thing I care about here. I would recommend doing that per dungeon with your bigwigs, I mean. But ERT, if you notice near my player frame, I have a little Innervate icon that I can click, and that will request Innervate from our Boomkin. Super easy way to call for it and track it. ERT is great for that. And we use a weak aura to communicate and coordinate. So this pull can be a little bit scary. Do not stand in melee, they'll dot you. So I'm standing 8 yards away. This is a boon pull, so I'm going to have to accept that I'm taking a dot. I just make sure everyone's atoned here and just heal through it with boon. So I exit, dispel myself, And this was really sad for the Demon Hunter. So this group is 1 disease dispel short. So what happened there is when I took care of myself, it left our Demon Hunter rooted in 2 stacks of Sanguine. So he died. And he had a disease on him. So it's the fault of the composition. So PI is almost available. Definitely need it here. And it looks like our Boomkin's popping. So always favor a Boomkin. Gave it a little bit of a delay. Thankfully I stepped out of the way of that attack before I was rooted. These pulls in this area, you always got to be quick with your dispels because people will get rooted in ground damage. Always bring a second disease dispel though. Questionable decision by our group, but I didn't form it. So this pull I thought was a little bit crazy. I was shocked that he did this. We didn't really have any cooldowns, but I led with the paints up, got some atonements out, used that window to get my dots out as well. Had to use barrier, I think that's what saved us. But I have to be really selective about who I dispel here. And I'm favoring the Demon Hunter because he can't do much to protect himself. And you'll notice since he's in melee, it keeps refreshing. And Boone comes back up just in the nick of time. I was a little eager just to get into Boone, and you'll notice I schismed a target that was almost dead, so that was a little bit of a loss. But we made it through, no deaths. I would have loved an opportunity to drink, but the tank wants to get Oros. This doesn't require much mana, so it's totally fine. We don't really need PI in this small gauntlet coming up, so I do use it here since it's Tormented +2. Gave it to the Mage again. For the same reason I boon here, because we don't really need it in the gauntlet. A 3-pack is fine. Not ideal, but it's fine. I use a feather there, just playing defensively. A defensive penance on the Demon Hunter, always a great move. So I went a little aggressive here. I went for the increased movement. It's always recommended. But since I have Innervate in the group, I don't take any mana powers. I thought the last boss, we didn't need to play around with those slams, so I wanted to give the group movement. I thought it would ensure our success a little bit. And here we have a death in the group. You cannot grip someone out of a tentacle grasp. But I was anticipating the tank getting bombed here, so I was about to grip him. And you'll notice nothing happened because he was still grasped. What I should have done is grasp the Demon Hunter. That would have saved someone there. A quick dispel saved the tank too. He had a double stack of that bomb. Don't LOS your healer here. It can be tricky with the steps. And always try and use your Dispel on someone who's in a cooldown window or someone who can do more damage here. I don't usually Dispel myself or a tank. Goes to the DPS. Yeah, Dispelled the Mage. He's in Icy Veins and PI'd him, so he's fine right now. Yeah, that was unfortunate. So it was another case where having only one disease dispel killed him because mine was on cooldown from helping the mage out, and he was trapped in another bomb. So that's his bad. That pull can go awry. It's best to be alert there. But it's not fortified, so a little bit easier. But just for the record, my Dispel was on cooldown, so... Alright, Varuth. I always lead with Barrier here. It's the one place I always use Barrier. Drop it at the tail end of that cast. Yeah, you'll notice that was targeted on me, and the boomkin just literally traced my footsteps, so that's crazy. I had to use Pain Sup on myself to live, but that's what it's for. Also in this single target, Shadow Fiend Schism. So you'll see I went for the crit buff here instead of food. I'm sorry, instead of mana. A little aggressive, but we have Innervate. We also have another opportunity to drop PI before the boss. Gave it to the mage there. He was the only one with a cooldown. No one got rooted here. Oh, I take that back. He got rooted, but not when the ground damage was going out. You really got to be aware there, because if someone's if those mechanics overlap, someone can get like one shot pretty easily. And grip doesn't work, so you gotta Dispel. I use Boon here because we really don't need it the first phase of the boss that's upcoming. So I target the slime with the spectrometer. I don't pre-atone. Yeah, I don't atone at all, so that's great. Targeting the other slime down. Gotta kill him first. This was a little crazy to have the boss enter. I would have liked a gap, but we didn't get that. Immediately popped Fade when I saw him landing. I did not want to be on that aggro table. But I think our tank picked him up pretty quickly. Always get a Schism in on this first round, just for the damage. Feathers are your friend here. Don't want to get hit on Tyrannical. That's for sure. I'm not standing in the slime because my mana is a little hurtin' because of the way the boss pulled. It's not going to increase my damage that much, so I'm just standing out of it to save a little bit of mana. It's fine. Should have refreshed my dot there before he jumped. Didn't notice. So I was anticipating to PI the Boomkin here. But they must be in Discord together. I think they staggered their offensives on purpose. You definitely don't want to pop all your offensives on the same bomb, because then the next one you might not be able to kill it. That's also why I saved Schism. I thought the Boomkin was going to blow it up. But take an opportunity here to boon, and you'll notice my Nova Blast rotation because we're in Bloodlust. More DPS, more healing. Pre-feather just to stay light on my feet. So the Boomkin, here he goes. I give it a couple seconds delay. We're trying to maximize his window. I schism this guy. PI's out. Yeah, this bomb's dead. I love to grip ranged classes here that are targeted with that leap. It's a nice way to use that cooldown defensively and help them out, but our RNG here was pretty good with those leaps. I did Shadow Fiend Schism. Really want to polish this guy off since he's Tyrannical, get him out of here. And got full value of Fiend, so good timing. And this next pull is where an aggressive play probably killed me. I feel like it could have played out differently if I had myself atoned before I went into this boon, but I only had the tank atoned. So I get grabbed. It's a real problem. I wall immediately, atone myself. I was in boon, so I thought I was A-okay. But then I fell right into Sanguine, which did the job. Quick res from the Boomkin. Not a big loss there. I could have pain supped myself. That might have gotten me through wall and pain sup together if I was only a little quicker to react. But I was really trusting my boon. I guess lesson learned. Toss out a PI here. You don't get full value on this little island. However, we do get that one plus one more before boss. So we're trying to get that thing rolling as much as we can. Get the atonements out. I'm going to boon this guy. It's nice to Nova when he has those chains down. Every target you hit, you get more return on your cooldown. The best play here is have a Radiance pre-casting before that AoE damage. That was pretty good there. That one wasn't, but I do have Schism. I really wanted to Shadow Word Death him there, but I was low health. It's a good thing I healed myself first.
Take the beast's power. You will need it for the dangers ahead.
Not much extraordinary about this one pull. You don't want to combine those because of the stealthlings, but this is our last chance for PI before the boss. I think it's a questionable choice that the Druid popped there, being he's a 3-minuter. I was not anticipating that. I would have PI'd him over the Mage, but the Mage can do go with it too. Yeah, I cast a Penance there on the dying target. That's just to preserve the dot. And again. Getting a few atonements out here because I'm about to boon the stealthlings. And we got great return on the boon here. I'm only doing Nova since we have a pack of like 10 or 15 there, which got us to a 99 stack. That's what you want to do if you can. Everyone's dotted, getting it a little sear. Definitely always want to kill these. Searing the Demon Hunter here. Yeah, you never want to punt those and scatter them. I see people do that all the time. You just want to kill them. So when they're scattered, the AoE is going to be less effective. Thankfully the tank noticed I needed mana. I'm drinking. And I can hold the drink past pull. So that's fine that he does that. And our PI target, the Druid, has almost a full minute to wait. So I don't know why he popped on that pull. I might go ahead and boon on this first round. I think I favor Nova a little bit here. Grip the Druid in. There's no global on that. Always keep death on cooldown. It's pretty good damage. So this was a good boss for me. I was never once targeted with the ambush attack. So I used Pain Sup on this round, which allowed me just to Schism Seer. And there's our PI target. I didn't delay that one. I was hoping he would get value off of the ads. Personally, at this point, he should have waited for right now, the next ad round. There's no reason to pop in between an ad round like that. For this round I use Barrier, which also allows me to Schism Seer these ads down. Used a Penance there at the end to spread that dot to one of the targets. So I use Rapture for this one. Don't use it too often because I can't DPS with Rapture. It's a DPS loss. Very useful though, especially on Tyrannical weeks. It took me a long time to figure out how to do this, but if you play that back and look at my bars, I use Grid 2, and I have my bars built to show the absorbs growing from left to right. So at a glance, it's really easy to tell if a shield landed as a critical hit or not, or if the absorb value is low, you can refresh it. With Rapture, there's a lot of loss if you don't know the status of the absorbs in the group. And I used to use Voodoo for a long time, and native bars as well. They don't show absorb values like that. And growing left to right, I just think is the best way to compare them. Any other spec, you probably don't need to track absorbs as much, but as a Discipline Priest with Rapture, you're going to have a loss with that spell unless you can see exactly where your values are. This is also the last opportunity for PI, giving it to the Mage. And I'm going straight in for Icker. I'm going to Schism. Being that we're Sanguine, you don't want Icker to get caught under a pool of Sanguine. That's awful. I tried to punt a couple of the guys away there, but we didn't have that problem. If you leave a mob up alive in the back, he'll spawn there where there's no Sanguine. I'm going to go ahead and attack him. The other guys, I'm not too worried about it. Our DPS can do that. A better rotation there would be Power Word Solace, then Mind Blast. Mind Blast followed by Solace puts them on the same cooldown, which is a loss in DPS. So this pull can be tricky with all of the diseases that go out, so I thought I would just go ahead and boon. A little bit of a gamble, being that the boss is next, and the gamble did not pay out in my favor. You'll see I instantly got the haste reduction debuff, which means my boon was ruined, and I got no return on the cooldown. You'll see it was a minute 14. That's really bad with the boss coming up. Usually I'll boon the first round of Acid Rain on the boss. That allows for one more boon during the boss fight, but I had to adjust on the fly. Also, tank this group at the bottom. LOS is crazy there. Don't LOS your healers, just tank it at the bottom. You'll notice the Demon Hunter did not get my Radiance. Alright, the last boss, here we go. I'm surprised the Druid popped here again. I think any Boomkin would tell you wait for the second phase with Lust, but the Druid went for it, so my hand was tied. I had to go ahead and drop the PI. So we have no boon. My reflexes lay down a barrier. Schism. I do wall and dispel myself. Always try and save penance for when the malignant spawn appears. You want to spread your dot that way. You'll notice how I spread my dot with those two that were close to each other. They'll melee you, put them away. They'll kill you. I preemptively feathered just to be able to dodge that. And it worked out that I held boon for this phase because we have Bloodlust. Transfer the dot, and I atone bottom up, tank last. And here we go into boon. So we have Nova Blast, Nova Blast. You'll see it's an incredible amount of healing. It's high DPS. I told the Demon Hunter to Darkness there, but that was at the start of the dungeon. He could have done it on the next round. It would have been better. Boon on those Acid Rain phases is complete overhealing. Good, we pushed the phase. We don't want a full round of rain there. Preemptively Feather. Pun him away from the group. Get a few atonements out. Feather dodge. So this next round is going to have to be Fiend. We have PI again. Let's go into the Mage. Fiend, Schism. And I should have pain supped myself here if I wanted to be a little more careful. But I used a potion instead. Yeah, I don't know what I was holding pain sup for. I should have given it to myself there. So I requested Innervate. We're getting a completely free Rapture. It's better to play the Rapture cooldown during the Bloodlust phase. But the way this dungeon played out, we didn't get that. Just in time to get one blast off. Key is over. Lost the Boomkin, but that's alright. Cool. Well, thank you everyone for watching my Plaguefall 23 for this week. I do plan on making more videos just like this, and in each video, naturally, we'll talk about different concepts of discipline play and different strategies for different areas. Hopefully, we'll get some examples of how to recover. Yeah, I'm just going to let this channel kind of naturally play out. This is just going to be a fun, stress-free side hobby for me. Please, if you have any specific questions, ask and we can go over that. And until next time, Disc out.